Hey everybody, I hope you're keeping well and enjoying the Red Alert celebration so far. Next up we got something that's a little bit different. This is the D-Day mod for Yuri's Revenge, specifically the multiplayer patched version of it, which has had a new release semi-recently, in the last couple of months. Actually it had a newer release in the last week or so, making some changes to the base game. For those not familiar with the base game D-Day mod, that is, it is quite an impressive amount of work that's gone into this. They've added in a bunch of obviously World War II style factions, units, structures. So you can see the full list of playable sites here. There's America, Great Britain, France, Poland, China, the Soviet Union, Germany, Italy, Hungary, Japan, Czechoslovakia, and Sweden. I will say for the multiplayer mod, they have disabled Japan, so that's something to be aware of if you are planning to play this. It does not currently seem to be available at this time. The other thing is that when it comes to the actual setup of online games and skirmish matches, there are, instead of like custom game modes, you have these playable time frames. So there's pre-war, early war, mid-war, late war, post-war, total war. You can see in here the differences between them, which is a very interesting way of aligning kind of sub-faction-y type setups, where each faction basically has different access to tech through each of these wars. And now I was trying to have a brief look around and see if I could get like a fully broke down sheet of all the differences. It wasn't something that I was able to locate. If I do find it, I will link it below in the description. But just so you're aware that that is what these different game modes will enable, all of these various changes. Now, the next question is going to be, well, how do I get this set up and running? On ModDB, where you tend to get most of your mod files and stuff, the version of D-Day up here is actually quite old, version 3.7b. And we're actually looking more specifically at the multiplayer version of this mod, which is integrated with the more recent CNCnet client, the one that Rampastring made, that most people will be familiar with. So, to actually download a version of this with that mod enabled, you can go to this link, which I will be sure to drop down below in the video description, which includes the most recent patches for it. So this is currently based on version 2.4, I believe, is the most latest version of it, which is pretty cool. And as part of this and the anniversary celebrations, the creator is hosting a map making contest. So by all means, be sure to go check that out if the deadline hasn't closed by the time you're viewing this. You can pause the video here and have a look through some of the descriptions. It's pretty cool. It's nice to see that the community are keeping games like this alive and trying to encourage fan map creation. And we'll see when we get into the game how kind of cool and unique some of the maps that are already existing are. But in terms of what this actual mod that we're looking at has added or changed, there are a few things. Mostly all listed in here. The latest version 2.4 was some quality of life changes. Or rather, 2.4 was to tell you about the map making contest. 2.3 was a patch that included the change that was made, crediting Rampa in the credits menu and removing a passenger train on a car. v2.2 was released, which had a whole bunch of different changes and quality of life fixes, which you can read through here on the post. Same with 2.1, 2.0, etc. So the DDMM is the version of this mod that we will be playing, the D-Day multiplayer mod, which is different to the base D-Day, the D-Day mod on ModDB. So, with that in mind, to actually download it and play it and all that good stuff, you can go onto the PPM forums here. You can actually go down. Similar to other RA2 mods or Yuri's Revenge mods, you need to have Yuri's Revenge installed locally, and you can download the patch here and drag it into the folder, and then you should be good to go. Yeah, and if you have any questions or anything like that for the mod author or related specifically to the development of it, you can reach out obviously on PPM forums. You can also reach out on the anniversary Discord, and I'm sure he would be more than happy to answer any questions you might have. But that'll do it for our kind of preliminary look here. I think we'll now go over to the game client and check out some matches. So let's go. Alright, so here we have the actual game client itself. As again, this is the multiplayer mod. We're only going to be focusing on a couple of skirmishes to, replicate the multiplayer setting. But it is the standard GTA client, so you can pop up here, go to the lobby and set up your own games and all that fun stuff. But we're going to be looking at skirmishes specifically. Now, I guess at this point, before continuing, it's worth noting that as this game is based on World War II, there is going to be imagery and symbolism and stuff like that related to that period of time. So if you're sensitive to any of that stuff, just please be aware of that moving forward. But we are going to play a couple of skirmishes. As previously mentioned, there are 6 current game modes, so to speak, and these are them, and each one enables the factions to have different tech trees and structures and everything else. As this is a mod overview, and the goal here is to just try and show off some of these factions, what I'll likely do is play through, I would say, 6 skirmishes, one for each of these game modes, and just pick one faction for each one of them, and then just show that off a little bit so you can get a feel for what's included with this mod. And then if you like it yourself, by all means you can go on and play a few games. I'm sure there'll be a couple of multiplayer games on during the day that this airs, so be sure to get involved with that. But first up, we're going to go pre-war. You can choose to go random allies, random axis, and you can choose your various factions here. I guess we'll start off with America. The best way to do this, because we want to try and have a mix of both factions, so we'll probably go America versus Great Britain. We'll probably do like 2-2-2-2. So yeah, let's try America versus Great Britain first up here. We'll go pre-war. There's a whole bunch of maps. Some of these are made especially for this mod. I think things like Cityscape, Submerging Emergence, I think is exclusive to this too. You've got, that's a cool Autobahn map. So you can see there is quite a few maps bundled with this mod. Some of them look very nice. I do like the look of the structures and neutral buildings that they have added to this. It's very cool. You got Berlin here. It's very nice. Arnhem, Cold War, Tournament Map B, Doom Patrol, Blood Feud, and the Aerodome. We'll probably start with the Aerodome. I've played this map once before, so full disclosure, it's not entirely brand new to me. But it is an interesting one, so you can have a look at some of the different structures and how things are laid out. So we're going to go with the pre-war era. I'm not sure why this is so loud when I click it, but that's just the game client, I guess. We're going to play it on, I guess we'll try it on faster. You have a bunch of preset settings here: Conyard start, crates appear, multi-engineer, reveal map, in-game allying, permanent radar, destroyable bridges, yada yada. Credits defaults to 10,000. We're going to crank this up so we can more quickly get through the tech tree and show off some of that. You can see here on the actual map before we go into it, you have these kind of patches, which are very similar in terms of eco. It works a little bit differently in this though. So instead of having like tiberium or ore, it has these crates positioned on the ground, which is kind of like resource supplies, right? And then you ferry them back to your sort of refinery supply depot type structure. So we'll see that now in a second. But I think we're ready to get into this. So let's launch. And they have their own custom splash screens for each faction, similar to that. It's pretty cool. So you can see here with the USA, you can immediately choose sub-factions when you deploy. So each play as the Army or as the Marine Corps. I guess we'll go as the Marine Corps. Pick up a power generator. So you can move your units. You can see the different custom models and stuff that they have here is a very different feel, I would say, to like the base Red Alert 2 units. It feels more kind of, especially with like the palettes on this specific map, it feels more kind of like a commando style aesthetic, if you like. I think we're on the top right corner of this map. I believe this multiplayer mod is also taking advantage of some of the Phobos engine, if I'm not mistaken, because you can see on the top right there, it shows the active number of harvesters you have, so currently 0 out of 0. Once you put this down, it should change. I also don't see where my starting resources are, so hopefully if I put this down we'll find out. So supply depots like your refinery, and then we'll get a barracks up so we can start producing infantry. So here's some resources, so you can see how this kind of acts like a harvester type style. Comes in, picks up the crates, comes back, dumps it off. But yeah, it's a very impressive mod. The original one at least. The multiplayer, of course, enabling DDay's client is fantastic because it lets you actually be able to play this online in an easy, straightforward way, hopefully. So I'm looking forward to some multiplayer matches on the actual day of the mod celebration itself with some of you. That was the barracks. We'll get the war factory next. So you can get your defensive structures. 30 cal. You can hear a sniper somewhere off in the distance or an M1 Garand shooting. And set rally points. It is the one thing I would say is the aesthetic of this mod. In terms of when you have cursor changes, it's very difficult to see. Like in kind of base Red Alert, if you like, you have very obvious prompt if you want to attack someone, but here, like, this is the force attack, right? You can see it's only the bottom right part of the cursor that changes. Same with moving, like you can see here, it's like a move action. So it's a very very minimalistic style, which can be a bit of a headache to deal with when things get a bit hectic. So it's just something to bear in mind. Of course, we have the different build tabs, so that's always nice. Got ourselves a second harvester here. We're going to get some of the, or rather a, what was it they called it? A supply dodge. We'll get the radar going up, get another generator. Very nice. We seem to be colored pink on the minimap. Not really seeing huge amounts of the actual faction specific color on the units. I guess you'd see a little bit here on the trucks. Move on over to here. It seems to be left click by default to like move units and stuff. As well, it's not the standard right click you might expect from Red Alert. Get an airfield down. We have sandbags now, so just to show these off a little bit, see if they use the like Red Alert 2 style. Infantry seem to go down relatively easy, but things like tanks and structures seem to be quite hefty. I guess kind of replicant of the actual warheads available at the time. So they try and keep some level of realism, I guess. These scout cars, I guess I should send one of these out to the enemy base, see how we do. Unsure, it's unlikely that I'll probably play through a full mission here, but we'll see how it goes. We can build a supply drop. We can also now build Wildcats and TBD Devastators. So we'll get some of that action going. Our infantry over here are taking tank fire like champs. So there is very much this... it's kind of similar to Red Alert 2, but I'd say it's more extreme in terms of like your tank shooting at an infantry is not going to kill it anytime soon, right? You need very specific units and counter units and all this stuff. So we're going to get the research center here. So you can garrison structures and stuff like that. Here they are. And of course they've added in like the custom tracks for the soundtrack with some quite a bit of it copyrighted, I believe. So just bear that in mind when you go to play it. You'll probably hear a few tracks you might recognize, and they seem to be going for something faction specific. So depending if you're playing like the Russian side, Soviet side, or the Allies, it'll be a bit different. We'll get a few of the choppers in here. If I stop building? No, I'm still building. It's just a little bit on the slow side. Oh, here's a truck probably full of engineers. No, we're good. It's our own harvester. Just the speed at which it came zooming back is quite scary. This structure, the supply depot, basically similar to like generals, where it'll drop in resources at set intervals, so you're able to get your cash income sort of passively go up. We'll get a couple of heavy tanks, a couple of artillery. We have an anti-tank support gun. Seems like a good thing to have. But yeah, it seems very true. Like, I can't speak too much in terms of the accuracy of, you know, pre-war weapon types. My knowledge on that stuff is quite limited, but I'm sure that the original mod had quite a lot of this enabled. After having done research and like spending time making sure all the details are correct, which is cool. Here's my generator. So these planes, they don't actually need to reload the F41F Wildcats, whereas the Devastators I think do, right? Yeah, they'll go back down if they don't have anything. But overall, oh wow, those heavy tanks, pretty badass. But yeah, all in all, there's a very good, unique feel to the mod that they have, between like the custom map palettes, just like the aesthetics and like the setting, obviously with it being based back in World War II. It's yeah, it's impressive to see the amount of detail, and I was actually surprised I hadn't heard of this mod prior to the anniversary, considering just how much is included with and how unique a lot of the options that they've put into it are, like the sub-faction-y type stuff based on the different time period or game mode, if you like, you choose. It's a very interesting use of that mechanic for kind of historical accuracy to some degree. So it's very cool to see. If I stop building.
Yes, Commander. Waiting for orders.
Okay. Let's get the tanks down. So we're gonna. I'm guessing that these middle stockpiles actually regenerate the cargo, so to speak, for your harvesters. But there's plenty on the map. It's kind of scattered throughout the middle of it. I think there's a neutral structure in the top left corner of this map, if I'm not mistaken. We'll see. You can build engineers, as you might expect, similar to most of these mods. I think there's a neutral structure somewhere. Possibly it's just this. You can garrison these two buildings and then better reinforce and defend this position. Nice. I do like also the use of the neutral, just like for the map. Like the map's really nice. Like having all these like runways replicating like airfields, and then having like helipads and like just neutral structures placed on the ground like this can add quite a lot to the mod. So that's cool. These aren't my units. Where's my army? So the AI is actually looking like they've got a lot of stuff here right now. Okay, okay. Boys are hanging in there. Here's the rest of our army. Oof. Go on the counterattack now after this, see how much damage you can do to their base. Cool that you can see like the down tanks and stuff, like the carcasses are just lying static. Engineer there. The planes shooting each other is a pretty cool effect, I think. So the static defense structures there are getting blown up. And here comes like the whole what's good versus what. Like, so you really need to have some level of awareness in terms of what vehicles will be good against ground versus what will be good against vehicles and infantry. There is veterancy, as you can see. Like this unit has his veterancy logo, so it's cool that they've added that, their own custom veterancy stuff to it. Currently out of cash, not good. I think my harvesters are just idled here. Also not great. Oh, these are just cargo guys. These aren't actually harvesters. Models look a little bit similar in places here and there, so that's more my confusion from lack of familiarity with the mod and its units. I guess they must have killed all my harvesters. Oh man. Heavy tanks rolling on in. But yeah, the model's really nice, the map's really nice, the aesthetic's really nice. The AI behavior is a little bit, I'd say, basic for this difficulty, I guess. But that's not a bad thing. It allows me to show off this stuff without being under huge amounts of pressure. Like the base looks pretty damn nice. So the design and stuff is really good, and like I say, with the actual multiplayer mod of stuff, you know, there's some quality of life changes in here, and also just being able to easily play it through CNCnet with Ramp Strings Client is fantastic. Always has been a nice thing. The community could reuse a lot of the hard work done for those existing clients to leverage their mod to make it more easily accessible online, so it's super cool. You can see here the British construction yard, so some of the British structures, you can see them in action here. It's a howitzer, 00F 6PDR. There is obviously that very raw feel of realism that they're going for in terms of like all the specific names of the tanks. Like they're not giving them like the simplified version of like, oh, here's your light tank, here's your medium tank. It's like, no, here's your, I mean, they have your heavy tank, but it's like, this is actually called the Mark 8 Liberty. So you can actually I guess learn a little bit in terms of like the actual warhead types and the tank vehicles and the infantry and stuff too from it, if you're that way inclined. But chances are, if you're playing this, it's primarily to just have a bit of RTS fun in a more realistic type setting, which is cool. I'm not sure what the deal is with these planes, why they aren't actually attacking. I guess they're scout planes specifically, so they just don't. I should sell this, I guess. And you can see here the plane will drop off the supply resources, just so you can actually get good vision of that, see how it looks. Down they go. Cancel. Supply dodge is 500. Sell one of the war factories. Should be able to afford it then. Not really any huge sell animations for the structures and things like that, which is, you know, fine. Just can look a little bit odd if you're used to the more advanced RA2 sort of structure cell animations. These guys are having a great. They've got huge range with the Veteran C. And you can see there on the top right, and it says 1 out of 1, so it's our active harvesters back on the menu. British workshop here. This is the British barracks, I'm guessing. Let's see this corner of the map, just have a look at it. The details and stuff like the airstrips in this is real nice. This thing is getting promoted. I can see our cash is now going through the roof. And keep the men away from the. I'm guessing it's like a pillbox type setup. Vickers machine gun. Yeah, sounds about right. In come the planes. Gonna do a run. Nice. Accuracy seems to be a big thing. The tanks do actually seem to miss quite a lot of shots. It's not just the artillery units. I've seen it from regular tanks too. We want to take this, go here, I guess. Just get a few more of these.
Waiting on orders. Let 'em have it. We're in the mix. Advance. Armor here. We're in the mix. Yes, sir. Give 'em hell.
It's kind of annoying, right? Like, you're just sort of waiting for them to get this last guy. And like the accuracy on the artillery just seems to be so bad. I'm surprised it's this bad.
Win or bust.
And come the bombers. GG's. So that's our look at the Americans against the Great Britain. Okay, next up we're going to go as France. Actually, I'll tell you what, we'll go as the Soviet Union against France, so we can kind of see the Soviet side of it, the Axis side. I'm going to go to early war. Change the map. I'd rather use these kind of more traditional, or more like mod-specific type maps, just to show them off a bit. Where do we want to spawn here? I have no idea. Eeny, meeny, miny. I guess we'll take left versus right. And it is against an easy AI opponent, so that would explain a bit. It's no harm. And launch game. Here we go. So you can see again the custom splash screens, pretty cool. You also get like the custom map section here. It's very nice. It's for Soviet power plant. It's missing a cameo. Interesting. Not sure why that's the case. Soviet supply depot, Soviet barracks. I'm seeing neutral engineers over here. It's kind of weird. Not sure why the cameos are missing. If I figure out why after the fact, I'll be sure to leave a thing on the video about it. Might just be that some specific sub-factions don't have cameos added in the base mod. But here's the Soviet supply depot, which I'm assuming is the refinery. Next up we get the barracks. Yeah. Here comes the ref. So it's kind of cool. You're able to like go over and like use these bridges, which is very nice. So they're taking advantage of like the elevated scenery. Get the Soviet factory here, so we can build the Mosins for the rifles. And get the DSHK 12.7. It's like a little rail yard over here. It's very cool. The map's also a lot bigger than I'd initially expected. It looked like it would be a little bit more on the smaller side, I guess. I'm getting our static defenses down, just in case. Like the aesthetic of the buildings once again. It's pretty cool. A Soviet factory, get this down. I'm gonna get the Soviet HQ now. Get the power plant before the HQ. Again, you can see you can get down the sandbags. So we can build supply truck, which is our harvester. We can also get some armored cars. Nice. We should probably put a few of our men into these buildings, garrison them. Buildings do look really nice. It's obviously fitting for the aesthetic, which is pretty cool. I get the Soviet HQ now. Curious if the HQ is like the radar structure. I would assume it is. Cool light post, lamppost effects. BA-20s, we got these here. They're like the armored cars, but they're not going to be much of a match against the tanks. So we get the Soviet HQ now. We can actually get medium tanks, which is what we need. We can build these PTRDs. Believe these should be anti-tank. It's not looking great for us. Get the anti-tank Z1S3, the Zs3, a Soviet airfield next. You can see the veterancy here is different for the Soviet faction, so that's cool. Nice. So the map's actually quite huge. Look at this. I figured it would just be like me on the left, him on the right. But it's actually, it's much bigger than it would initially seem. The Soviet airfields. Very cool. We also build the NKVD office. We get our like mortar type defensive structure here. What else we got? Anti-aircraft. Probably want one or two of those. Get these. Illusion. Get a few illusions. Okay, the Soviet NKVD office. We also get the OKB Research Center. So there seems to be quite a lot of extra tech here compared to like the initial factions. We can build a flame tank. That sounds pretty good. We can build a SV-76. We'll try them out. Cool. I think after this I'll be getting an extra war factory so we can build things a little bit faster. The overall aesthetic looks really nice. You can see this time we're actually the green color, but again, like the highlights and stuff on the actual units and things isn't huge. It's nice that I can use these planes kind of for scouting vision. So this is the research center. Get a power plant, then we'll get another war factory. We can build heavy tanks now. Here are the OT-133s, flame tanks. Very cool to see flame tanks. Always a CNC classic. Interesting way they've integrated it here. Soviet power plant. Get another one of these down. Music again, very fitting. I want to get another war factory, right? Well, here they come. You can repair and sell structures, same as you might expect in most Warrior 2 mods. Let's see, it looks like they're trying to get across. Ah, they're anti-air. I see, they're chasing down my my planes. Which are doing bombing runs on me. So here's the heavy tank. And big boys. So we have these ground attackers, we have the bombers. Get our Soviet factory down. So yeah, I'm really impressed with the models. I mean, they have quite a huge tech tree. Or like, you know, supply of units, supply of infantry. All the kind of things that you would really want. This is cheeky though, they got like long range siege weapons that they're currently using. Try to use our air forces on them. So it looks like they pulled away. Here he is. Oof. Where are they? Where are they coming in? This other neutral engineer just kind of chilling with his briefcase. Get another war factory. Speed up our production a bit more. Make this the primary. Nice. Okay. So we're, I think the enemy's like over here-ish. Cut off some of his heavy tanks here. We need to make sure we're still building tanks, so we'll get some more medium tanks. A couple of these. And then a couple more heavy tanks. Heavy tanks, I'm guessing, are super slow. The animations and stuff for the firing and the damage seem interesting too. I like the flame effects they have on like damaged tanks. It's kind of cool. Unique. My cash reserves are now pretty bad. I also believe they speed up when they're on roads. So you can see here after like being on them for a short period of time, they go much faster. So you can leverage quite a bunch of the terrain in these maps, so you can try and optimize your army against more so a human opponent, I would think. Okay, we're gonna unify all the troops here before we attack in. Meanwhile, he's still got these guys, so we should use our air units. Get them over here. I think these are anti-air, so they might take down one or two of these. We'll see. Nice. That'll do it. Very cool. You can't crush infantry, so as you may expect. This is pretty cool, fighting through the trees. And then it looked like their base was here. They had one of their defenses firing at us. Yeah. Nice. Bunch of placeholder structures and stuff. Not sure what's up with the missing cameos. It's very strange. But missing cameos and models aside, which I'll look into after this, it's pretty fun. I mean, we've gotten to show off quite a bit of the Russian faction here, so you can see how the Soviet stuff functions, looks, what the tech tree is sort of like in this specific time era for this game mode. It could be a fact of the opponent's faction during this specific game mode period, just not having the actual models for specific structures. But either way, I think you get a good idea here for what the Soviet faction is like, so I think we're going to just move on at this point. But yeah, GG's. Alright, so next up we're going to play as Germany against Italy. We're going to go in the mid-war game mode section. We're going to pick a different map. What map? We tried Berlin, we tried Aerodome. I guess we can try this one. Arnhem. I guess we'll take the city. We'll have the AI take down here. Same settings as before. We'll see what the situation is like with this. I suspect the previous game, the missing cameo stuff is just down to the game mode section and the faction that you're playing with. But let's go. Let's see how this goes. Of course, all the symbolism and stuff they're using from the war. So interesting to see that. Vehicles are super fast. You can see that they are actually speaking speaking German. So it's another thing to notice from some of the factions. They're language specific, which is a nice little touch. So supply depot, again, get the ref up, you get the barracks. You can see the main bridge seems to be up here. So again, very cool tile set. Interesting to see how they approach it with like the bridges and tunnels and everything else. Get the barracks down, get a factory next. Where's the AI? What? Here he is. Okay. May as well take out the harvester if we can. So again, you can get a feel for the structures and units here of that faction. And again, cool terrains, cool setups. Get ourselves a factory, get a radar, get more supply truck. And then armored car is kind of your base. Once again, you can build anti-tank, Panzerschreck, or the Gewehr 43 rifle. Anti-infantry, the MG42. I guess we'll get one of those. MG42. Get the radar down. Get an airfield, so we can build Panzerwehr or we can build the SDKF7 2341. So we get the armored car just to have one, and then we'll get a couple of the Panzers, medium tanks. Okay, we'll get the airfield down. We get an armory. In terms of airfield, we got the FW190 or the HS129. Get an anti-tank turret, just to show that off. Again, it'll probably be the 4 tile type structure. We have an armory now. Get a power plant. So here we have the SD. So there's a bit of a volley of shots. It's pretty cool. It's a nice map because we only have to worry about this one point, I believe. Which is why we've managed to hold ourselves alive for so long. However, something is getting shot here from the enemy. Accidentally moved my Conniard there. So you do a redeployable MCV by default, it looks like. I can hear the shooting, but I have no idea where he is. We'll get the power plant down. So you can see like the rate at which the resource gathering happens too is interesting. And they seem to be quite limited in how much starting cash they give you. So like obviously I'm starting these skirmishes with like 50k, and normally you wouldn't have that much. So it's something to bear in mind that your eco is actually going to be quite bottlenecked, I would say, for a good bit. So you got to be real careful in terms of what direction you go with the units and structures that you choose, because it's not going to be like I'm not sure you're really gonna be able to spam a huge amount. Like once you actually get to the resources, what? Once you actually get to the point where your eco's up and running, like I guess it does skyrocket seemingly. Like there must be like special boxes or something here. I don't know how it jumped up that much. So yeah, I don't know. I guess maybe the eco works out itself after a while. There's the German Research Center. We can now build heavy tanks and the artillery. So they do seem to balance the factions somewhat. You know, each faction try and have some kind of artillery, heavy tank, light tank, anti-tank. There is also this day-night cycle effect going on this map, which I kind of like. It's a very interesting effect. Like the lighting's totally changed, the lights and stuff. The street lamps becoming obviously much more important during the night. I do wish that that guy would not come into my base. Got him. There we go. There's the anti-tank turrets. We're holding the bridge okay. And we're not doing an amazing job. We're doing okay. And again, you've got like the customized veterancy icons. More war factories. More power first. Currently building the bomber. It's nighttime here now, so we'll send the boys across. I mean, the setting just looks like the maps look real cool. Plane getting shot down. Bomber doing a little bit of damage to the structure, not a huge amount. Bum, bum, bum. Going after my power, smart. So we've just gotten our second bomber. So being able to move over here, I can avoid his anti-air defense. And then go straight down. Then attack him from this way. And I'm wondering if I target this guy, maybe the splash damage will actually enable him to hit the small plane behind too. There we go. So let's see. Not really. It was okay. So my war factory tanks are over here. So it's cool. Like the mod itself is pretty good for what they're going for. I mean, did he get my conyard? Did I somehow move my conyard again? I'm not really sure what's happened there. It's a bit annoying that that keeps happening, but that's fine. We can come in here and see what damage we can do with these units before wrapping it up. So they built their own little trench structure here. It's kind of cool. Yes, we'll build a bunch of riflemen. We're still building these things. If they rebuild the trench, I guess we go for the conyard. Probably makes the most sense. You can see the AIs build like the sandbag wall around their base. They also have the trenches down. Send them all in. The actual amount of damage and stuff required to take out structures is quite hefty, so it ends up resulting in this thing where like you're less inclined to have Conyard rushes and stuff like that. Here's our Conyard. We'll move him. We'll move him all the way up. All right. Since he wanted to be undeployed so much, we'll move him all the way over here. But it's interesting because like when you have to spend so much to just try and take out like a single structure, it enforces you to try and play in more manageable ways, and to actually like outsmart strategically your opponent and focus more on, okay, well, how am I going to get his infantry production down or his tank production down, because I can't just go in and snipe his Conyard kind of a thing. And like granted, there's probably ways with the multiplayer where you can just like spam 3 or 4 airfields and your opponent might not have any anti-air, then you can just win with those kind of like cheese style tactics. But I think from a general gameplay perspective, it's a lot more interesting to have structures that take a lot more damage to try and kill, rather than have them very easily destructible, so it places less emphasis on their importance, or rather it places less emphasis on the importance of trying to snipe them. But that's just me. Make this primary. Probably get a barracks down here too. Firing from the trees, nice. Get the barracks going. Something was given some hassle up here. Our defenses took care of it. Get some Panzerschrecks in. I guess we'll get the Panzer IVs. There it is. Conyard's down at last. Whew. Takes quite a beating. Alright, in with the Panzers. Yeah, and the soundtrack's pretty good. Again, it's all seems to be roughly based around different factions. I can build off structures I've placed before, so there's no like build radius around the Conyard. It might be something people are interested about. Although it seems like this might be an indestructible fence, so that may not have been the best location for that. There is also something dropping artillery rounds on this. You can see they're doing like next to no damage. Get the bombers in. It's probably faster for me to get engineers at this point. We'll see if it's multi-engineer or not. I think it's probably not. I could try capture this. I'm not sure if you capture an airfield if you'll actually get ownership of... Oh, careful, don't die. Ooh. Oh, almost. Okay, we'll send her in this way. I'm not sure if we'll actually get ownership of all the dudes on it. Be cool if you did. I guess he can't. Damn. Can't get the airstrip, but he can capture the structures. I'll sell those. Nice. I assume I can't capture. Yeah, engineer cannot capture the trenches. Like needles, their defensive structure. That makes perfect sense. Nice. This should be the last of it. Jeez. Alright, so next up, we're going to play as Hungary is the last faction we haven't played as so far. And I guess we'll go up against America as an opponent. And we'll go with the late war section. I guess we can try another map. We'll go with... Some of these are quite big, so I'm just conscious of that. Blood Feud, yes, we can try this. It's a 1v1 map, so it should be ideal for testing purposes. I think we're good to launch straight into it, so let's go. Launch. Alright. So there's a power plant. Resources, not sure what this is, if these are meant to be resources. But yeah, going with the Hungary faction. No, so these are normal resources. Maybe they're special resources? Who knows? There appears to be cows in here. A little barn area. So I do like the attention to detail in some of these maps. Obviously the aesthetic of the Hungary buildings is very different. Supply depot, get the barracks next. Away goes the truck. We'll see if he can actually harvest this. Looks like he can. Kind of blow up the enemy's harvester there. Screw them up a little bit. Here's a barracks. Get ourselves a factory. Build some riflemen, it looks like. And the infantry guard tower we can build in this game mode. Let's try it out. Very cool. War factory. Okay, more supply truck. We also have a transport here, or we have the armored car, so we'll get some of those. Alright, field HQ. Get a power plant. We can now also build medium tanks. Alright. There is level differences in the terrain here, which is cool. Nice to see that they haven't just made it, they haven't totally ignored elevation or anything like that. It's always nice to have maps with some varied terrain like this. You can take advantage of being uphill, or you can take advantage of even just not being able to crawl against it. So it's cool to see that they've decided that. We can now build the Hungarian Access Embassy. We can build a couple of air units. Alright. I think I'll probably cancel that final truck. The Access Embassy, we'll get that down back here. We can build a research center next. So these are all gradually unlocking a couple of new structures, vehicles. We can build an anti-aircraft Nimrod now, and an anti-tank Zerny. 3.2k, expensive units. Build some of these anti-tank towers. The research center, probably put it down here. We can send our one plane across. We can already see he's starting to poke his head a bit. Research center, get that down. Nice. Okay, structure seems to be in good position up here. The anti-aircraft, while nice, I don't want to put it too far forward here. I want to get the anti-tank. Be a bit more useful. Get more power going, and then we'll get more war factories to speed up tank production. There's a power plant, get another one. Set this rally point up here. So here's your anti-tank. We'll get the anti-infantry guard tower up in a more forward position too, so we can still be pretty aggressive. I really like the aesthetic of the Hungary buildings here. It's real nice. Guard tower, get that going up here. Nice. Okay, then we can get a secondary war factory. What else we got? Artillery, we're building one of these. We have bombers too. Our anti-air defensive structures doing good work here. So you can see that we have tanks coming out, actually coming out of the Axis Embassy, not the war factory. That's kind of weird. These are the Panzer IV, I guess. Maybe I just happen to have them back there already. They hardly came out of it. Axis reinforcements has arrived. We'll camp their resources here. There's the anti-tank Zerny. Yeah, see, tanks keep being produced out of this. Huh. But I can't set a rally point for it, unfortunately. I guess this is with the reinforcements coming in from this structure. Maybe they just every so many ticks in game send you in these vehicles, which is awesome if that is the case. Axis reinforcements have arrived. Yeah, that's exactly what's happening. Huh. Interesting. So you can get these units to show up every so often. Very cool. Oof. Nice. Anti-air guns doing good work. That's pretty fun, you say. I like some of the original maps. This one's a bit sparse, doesn't have a huge amount going on in it, but I think that's the intention of it. It's a bit of a smaller map, so you can see like we're pretty much right on top of each other from the start of the map. There's the tank here. This is power plant, I think. Yeah. Starting to get used to the structures. Takes a little bit because they all look so distinctly different. which is really impressive when you consider that this is like Red Alert 2 engine. Like the amount of work that would have went into the original mods, cameos, structure models, and everything else is like phenomenal. And then you also add that in with the different game modes, and then you likely have different models, sprites, and everything else with that too. It's just really, really impressive to see such, you know, such care gone into a mod like this. I'm not sure why my vision keeps going. I'm guessing they have like some kind of spy unit, maybe. Or I'm guessing that might be something you can pick up from like a crate, but I don't think they're enabled at the moment. It's not a huge deal. I think we're pretty much in a winning position here. More Axis reinforcements. I do like that they have the languages changed as well for some of the options here on the top right. It's a nice touch. So it's all in Hungarian for like repair, sell, menu, players, I think Caspat is. Yeah, so you can see there. Nice little touches like that can make like quite a big difference. Even like the HUD elements and the coloring and everything else changes based on your faction, which is always cool to see. Similar to like the Allies versus Soviets versus Yuri, tends to be like the blue, red, or purple. So it's yeah, it's cool. For me personally, I've always found the best CNC in Red Alert games are those kind of more distance from reality than those kind of trying to recreate modern, you know, modern realistic vehicles. Like I'd much prefer, let's say, a Titan over a like standard heavy tank, but there's definitely room for both, and I think like this does quite an impressive job at what it's setting out to do. As this is mostly just a multiplayer mod we're looking at and like trying that out, you know, the intention of this is for more so PvP rather than necessarily just against AI, and this is easy AI, so we can have a proper opportunity to build up a base and demonstrate how these units and stuff are working. But what we might do is bump up the AI difficulty, maybe get a couple of allies going, and then see how that works out in the next matchup. And we can see if we can show off that, I think it was the French faction that was showing up missing cameos, likely due to the war period, so we'll see if we can fix that up next. But that was pretty good. GG's. Alright, so for the last game here, we're going to try out the post-war period. So far we checked out pre, early, mid, and late. Post is the, it looks like second last here, but the last option, Total War, just enables the full tree, it seems, for all the factions. So to mix it up, we're going to go with, just do the post-war, and we're going to do a 3v3 this time. On this map, Pay of Pigs, should be interesting. Definitely curious to see how the AI behaves. I've also bumped up the difficulty of all of them, so it's a little bit more interesting. We're all going to be on medium difficulty this time, so I'm curious to get into it and see what chaos this is going to end up resulting in. So without waiting too much, let's get into it. I think we checked out one side of the Allied forces before. We tried out the Marine Corps. This time we'll go with the Army, since they seem to have the alternating options. So we're spawning here towards like the bottom left-ish section. Get our generator up. We're a little bit tight on space back here. We're going to want to try and come up here. I guess hold the leftmost position. It's probably good. Probably want to get a couple of things garrisoned back here. Get our barracks up. Get our supply depot. Get a few of these riflemen. There's the 30 cal. I don't need the 30 cal this time because we actually have the riflemen. We'll get these garrisoned. Just to have at least one infantry in each of the structures would be nice. Also have the custom bridge structures, which is nice for repairing them. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, we're moving.
We'll just zoom across here, see if we can get some vision of the enemy.
Let's get in there.
Oof. Not really. Not this time. Not so easy, huh? Barracks. Supply depot. Okay. So the Marine Corps here is actually using the... or not the Arms Corps is actually using air units for their harvesting. It's kind of cool. Different.
Moving. We're going.
My AI allies haven't really scouted a huge amount of this, which is a little worrying. I mean, if the gameplay doesn't get you, the music will, so that's at least something. So we want to get another supply. Don't really want the scout jeep. We already have a few of them. Get the radar, tech up. I'm assuming this guy here is a scout jeep. Oof. Gonna want all of our units to at least come out to here. Except this guy can just go straight mining. Radar, so now we can actually see what's going on a little bit better. Checking on the allies. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun. I think maybe a second supply depot is probably good. Put it here. We can now build light tanks. Get some of those up. You can build these super bazookas. Try them out. Oof. They're like outranging us a little bit here. So there's a second ref. I want to get an airfield up, I guess. Okay, get the airfield down. Be able to supply drop. Ground attack, Thunderjets. Sounds good. We get, I guess, 4 of those. Fill up our airfield with them. Try them out. Purple AI here coming in hard. It's a little worrying. These guys can't actually shoot, which is problematic. Supply drop. Put this in the back. Get the research center up. We've got like 1 tank here. I'm gonna have to like just kind of fall back to here because we've lost that position. So after the light tanks, ooh, holy! Well, this is gonna hurt. Defensive structures, anti-tank. I'll try to get the research center down. Just about fits there. Not quite sure what my allied AI is up to. These have a real long range. Panzerjacker? Panzerjäger? I think it's just about dead. Just trying to stay alive. Medium tanks seem like a worthwhile investment. Want to get more defensive structures. Ooh, crap. We need to be able to build stuff a lot quicker. Hold the line. Generator. Just kept enough power from that. Nice. More generators. We need anti-aircraft apparently. That's becoming an issue now. Nice, okay, then we get another war factory. Okay, so the AI's kind of gone all out in that initial attack. They seem to be very quiet now though. Not a complaint. I would be happy if they would back off a little bit. Alright, factory. Want to get more barracks. So we're spamming medium tanks and light tanks at the moment, which seems to be the right thing to do. What's going on over here? Yeah, he's coming in. He's going to do some harass. Similar to this side. Okay, okay. Super bazookas. I guess a few rifle squads would be good. Something's hitting me back here. We're getting the supply crates. These guys are really good. Being able to snipe the enemy's harvs seems super practical use for them right now. Alright. Alright, how's our allies doing? Looking healthy. Looking healthy. So I think we want to just come across here and help our red ally take out the cyan guys. Although some of these slip by. Get some artillery mixed in with a bunch of light tanks, or mix them. Let's get some of these anti-tank ontos. Getting our aircraft to take out the howitzers here. How's our tank supply? Tank supply's okay. The enemy is coming though. Just gotta be careful. Okay, so that attack's kind of a bit of a bust. That's a lot of tanks, just kind of chilling. Medium tank, repair vehicle, and then a bunch of medium tanks. Defensive structures, get some more anti-tanks. Hold. So the AI is much more of a challenge here. Okay, we can actually build quite far up here. So we're going to continue putting pressure on this guy. Is he going to dock just before they can shoot? I guess they did. More generators, I guess. I need to stop producing immediately. I've run out of harvesters. I can tell that from the top right as well. Currently saying 0 out of 0. So it is important that that gets fixed straight away.
All systems go. 10-4. Copy that. Moving in. All systems go. 10-4. 10-4.
There we go. Alright, eco's back up. No power. Like we need to move out and do something. All this sitting back and defending is only gonna help for so long. Oof. Okay, we'll try come in here, see how this goes. Okay, it seems like a solid start. Man, the super bazookas seem to be the way to go here, huh? Because like the anti-tank defenses do nothing against them, and they seem to be doing it. I guess they're not doing amazing damage, but they're doing some damage here. And they got my Conyard. That's not so good. That might be RIP. Low power is definitely a problem. How bad are we? And I have no idea what's worth selling or not. Research center, supply depot. You could sell one of these. Could probably sell one of these. There we go. We got radar back, boys. Whoa. Okay. Let's take these things out quickly. Dun dun dun. Ba, 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 da, da, da. Nice, nice. Not so nice. Oh, they're lining up for a second attack. Think we're dead. I think the lack of anti-air in the base is what really hurt me here. And then they keep doing these artillery bombs from across the pond. There's not really a huge amount I can do. But without dragging this on too much more, I'll probably leave it there. It was pretty fun. Our allies are looking pretty rough for wear. The long range just artillery wrecks when you have a map like this. If you can get across the bridge into the edges, and then you're just pushed so far behind. It was really interesting to see how the AI built out. We did okay. We almost got one of the AIs here. You can kind of get an idea for why you would tend to test these maps on a bit of an easier difficulty, but pretty fun. So the AI does put up a bit of a challenge, which is nice. The constant air spam from the AI is also super aggravating to deal with, so that's cool. You also see the pathing and stuff seems alright. But yeah, GG's. GG's. And with that, it'll bring us to an end of this mod overview. So we've had a look at the pre, early, mid, late, post-war on a few of the different factions. So a reminder, that's America, Great Britain, France, Soviet Union, Germany, Italy, and Hungary. If you want to try and download and play this mod, by all means, you can go ahead and do it via the PPM project mod link, which I'll leave in the video description below. As well as, for those curious to check out the very original ModDB page, I'll leave that below too. Currently, this is on version 2.4. As a reminder, there is the D-Day mapping contest, which is still ongoing, so be sure to check that out if you're interested and are a mapper for Red Alert 2. All in all, a pretty interesting mod. They do quite a lot with it. There's a huge amount of models and overhauls with it. The multiplayer mod editions are pretty great to have, so fair play to, I think it's Saeed who does it. He's put in a lot of work, which is pretty cool. Nice to see him working away on this, being able to add those quality of life improvements, being able to integrate it with the DTA client, and having it set up so it's fairly straightforward to get access to the online multiplayer. So literally just pop on, sign in, and you can choose the lobbies on the left hand side. But that'll do it for me here. Thanks everyone for joining, and I hope you're still enjoying all the RA celebrations. If you liked the video, be sure to drop a like, subscribe, and all that good stuff, and I'll see you all next time. Have a good one.